大家好啊！我哋今日咧好高興可以請到校長Mr Sutton 啦，同我哋講一講學校咧一啲教學上邊大家需要即係知道嘅地方咁樣。So thank you very much for the interview, Mr Sutton.
No problem at all.
Yeah. So may I know what is the school's philosophy in teaching and learning, and how does it guide the teaching in school?
Our philosophy is a holistic approach. We have what we call the 12 pillars, and that creates the core of everything we do inside the classroom and outside the classroom. It can range from academics to sports to self-confidence, adventure and travel. So each pillar is recognised individually but holistically within the classroom. And we believe strongly that Buckswood, every child at Buckswood has a talent. And it's our job to find that talent and to ensure that's accentuated within the school curriculum. Just before you walked in the door just now, there was a young lady in here, and she came in to see me to say, I found my talent. It's archery, sir. I had to go at archery. I've never done archery before, and I'm good at it. And I said, wow, fantastic, well done. But we see Buckswood as an adventure and a journey. Educational adventure, educational journey, and we measure the journey not in kilometres but in memories and in moments. So we're all on a pathway. It doesn't matter where you're going, but we're on that journey. But it's the memories we take, and it's those moments along the way that make the holistic part of our education.
Brilliant, brilliant. So the school has been established for like around 100 years?
Nearly, yeah. I think it was 1933. I think it was established.
It's almost
so, yeah.
So, is there any tradition that the school is proud of? Yeah.
I think our main tradition is we're proud of all our students. So every school has traditions, and in fact, I think being an international school, we're actually, in terms of tradition, more British than most British schools. So we have our assemblies, the teachers wear their gowns, and so forth. But I think our biggest tradition is our ability, I think, to ensure that kids are successful and they get to universities.
Yeah, right. So you just mentioned about the international school. So how many international students right now studying here?
I think we have about 38 different nationalities, and our kids, we have a ratio of any one different nation in the school. So there aren't big clumps of different of the same nationality as such. So about 38 different nationalities and about 230 boarders that live here, and there's English kids that come in every day.
So, because the kids, when they come abroad, then they don't have parents here. So how do you support this group of students in here?
Yeah, I think Buckswood is exceptionally strong at pastoral care. Being an international school, we've got to be aware that children come from overseas, and we have an enormous support mechanism for them here. From what we call our hub, which is our safeguarding team, to our house staff. Everybody is involved in their well-being and their safeguarding in the school. So I don't think I've ever lost a child, gone home, because they're unhappy. You know, it's a very close-knit community, Buckswood is. And I think we're successful at that because the kids are happy and they're kept active the whole time. I think to have a school and a boarding school, you've got to have structure, and then you've got to have a lot of activity. So at weekends, there's an enormous weekend programme for the kids to choose from. Trips to London, in-house activities, inter-house activities. This weekend, I know, for example, I think on Saturday night they're learning to make bread. There's a big bread and cake competition between houses. And then on Sunday, there's a trip to London and there's a trip to Canterbury as well. So we are extremely active in what we do. So the kids don't have time to think of home, because they're always busy.
Yeah, so that's interesting activities all day long.
Yeah, even at the end of school, for example, school finishes at 3:30. Then we do our homework, get our homework done with our teachers, and then after that they have a little bit of free time, and then into other activities. So there's a big program, because I think that what's important is that if they're feeling at home, they feel happy. If they're then happy, they'll work hard. So this is their home. This is my home. This is their home.
Sure, yeah. So, talking about the studies, can you tell me more about the GCSE studies here?
Okay, so we're 3 schools in one. So we have a junior school, we have the middle school, which are GCSEs, and we have our upper school, which is the A-levels, the IB, and the foundation course. So the GCSE is a good core of students we have. We do 2-year GCSE, and we do a 1-year condensed GCSE as well. So students can come for 1 year and do 5 or 6 subjects, or they come for the 2 years and they do the full program. So there's a head of GCSE who's just in charge of this group. They live together in their boarding houses. There's 2 boarding houses for the GCSE group, for the middle school. And again, I think for that age group, in particular, the kids need structure. So every morning they get up at 7 in the morning, and I come and see that everybody at 8 o'clock. So I walk around the whole school and say good morning to every child. So there's interaction and there's eye contact, and they get ready for school, and then off they go. Throughout the day they'll have their GCSE lessons, and at the end of the day we have, for GCSE and for A-level, we have what's called access time. And after school the children can go and see their teachers if they want to, if they didn't understand something. So it's like a free tutorial time for academics. So the maths lesson or the history lesson might have gone on at a pace, no problem. They might not have picked something up, so they can then go and see their teacher at the end of the day and say, help, I didn't quite understand. And I think that's a brilliant way of helping students that may feel embarrassed in class to say something, and or just want to have that little bit of extension work.
Yeah, the very structural teaching approach for the students. Yeah.
I think structure is important,
Yeah.
For teenage kids, but to have the freedom to be able to question, to explore. There is time and there's space for that, because classes are small. There's only 16 in a class, so there's no back of the class. You can't sit in the back and fall asleep. You're out the front all the time. So we want to explore with it. We ask questions. We want to hear their opinions. So, but for the day-to-day logistics, it's quite organised.
Right. So apart from taking the lessons, I saw from website that a huge amount of extracurricular activities, the enrichment activities. Can you tell me some of them that's really unique in Buckswood?
Okay, I think that we do flying lessons.
Wow.
So the students can get their PPL, their private license, and they do. So we put 2, 3, 4 through a course a year. They do sailing because the sea is so close here. We have our own horse riding, so we have our own horses here. So they can do horse riding.
Yeah.
The reason for this, as I say, is to expand the mind. I think that now when you go to university, when you go for a job, the academics are important, the results are important, but the whole child, the whole person is just as important. And if you can talk knowledgeably and freely about activities you've done, then that enriches you as a person, doesn't it? So yeah, I say from horse riding on site to flying off site, but a lot of the activity, the majority of the activities we do on site here.
Definitely.
It's a big international village.
I'm so eager to see the horse riding in the afternoon.
You're going to see that. No problem. You have a go. Make sure you have a go.
Really?
We want that on film.
Yeah.
I'll film you.
Yeah. So, can you describe a recent successful initiative in the school that have been implemented?
Successful initiatives in the school. Okay, I think one we have introduced, and one that we're expanding on, is in our 6th form, where we have 3 courses: A-level, IB, and the UFC, the University Foundation course. So we don't just do the traditional A-levels, which many other schools do. We have the IB, the International Baccalaureate, as a second option. And then perhaps for those that may not have fulfilled their academic potential in the first year, we then have the UFC. So in business, in football, and in hospitality and tourism. So for the child that may be struggling at their A-levels after their first year, there is an option to go onto the UFC course, which then gives us the ability to have 100% placement rate at university as well. There's a university there's a course for everybody. So academia, I think people develop at different times in of their own development, don't they? Academically. So they may not have clicked on well to it. So therefore the UFC is good. And I think the other thing that we have introduced recently, well, a couple of other things, but one is our football academy. We're extremely successful at football. So that has helped students who want to do football, but also want to continue their studies. So it isn't just football, it's football and studies. So I think that has been a good introduction, a good course for the school. And we've embraced, and we are embracing, of course, as most schools are, technology, the internet, AI, those type of things. So at school here we believe that the laptop and the phone is just as important as the books. So it can all be used as learning tools. So those are just a couple of things that we've introduced and we're still working on, because in any school we're always learning as well as the students are learning. So we're pushing ahead with these.
Right. So you have just mentioned that whenever some students they have been struggling on their studies. So talking about this issue, what would you help those students if they are international students, if they are struggling about their future, their studies, etc.?
I think that, again, one of our mottos in the school is Buckswood puts time into the child. So as a head teacher, my office is very central to the school. So you can pick up on any struggles as such. Struggles can be in so many different ways, from academic to personal to well-being. But I think if you know the student, you can pick these up very quickly and then you can help them with it. If it's in studies, then you can give them study plans, you can show them how to study. I think a lot of students don't know how to study, and I think we have a program on learning how to learn. But if they need extra tuition in a certain subject, then they can have that as well. So we're very flexible. We're small and we're very flexible because we want them to succeed.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. And I just love the school when I just step in.
Fantastic. It's a little bit of Harry Potter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Front door.
Yeah. Later on, I will see the dormitory.
Yeah, but I think you'll see it's an international campus here. It's a very nice little village. It's a village, so and it's small in its approach. So you bump into people the whole time and say hello. So there's interaction.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much for the interview.
Have a good day here, anyhow.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
大家好啊！我哋咧今日咧就除咗訪問校長之外，我哋仲揾一位香港嘅同學做訪問嘅。咁喺我身邊呢一位係 Lily 啦，係啦。咁歡迎 Lily 同埋唔該 Lily 幫我哋做個訪問先。我想問下 Lily， 你而家讀緊 Year 幾同埋有啲咩科目讀緊㗎？
我依家就係讀緊 Year 11啦，即係我哋話嘅 Form 5啦。
OK。咁
就讀嘅科目都幾多，其實都。咁我就讀英文、數學，再加3個選修科咁樣，即係必選嘅。之後我哋仲會有 Games 啦，即係我哋所謂嘅體育科，同埋可能有啲人就會想讀埋 Science 咯。咁我自己都有讀 Science。你
係讀啲咩科啊？咁響即係 GCSE 呢度
？GCSE 我其實話就係話有9個 GCSE 咁樣啦，但係其實咧讀嘅科目可能有7個到，即係數學、英文，我自己就讀 Free Cam by 都3科啦，咁之後仲有我自己讀係 Business 同埋 Geog 咯。
OK， 咁講翻轉頭，其實又點解會嚟 Buckswood 呢度讀書啊
？Buckswood 其實就係因為我個 agent 佢就推介咗我呢間啦，咁我又咁啱入咗呢間喎。其實睇個環境都幾好，之後因為我點解會嚟英國呢邊讀呢？其實就係因為我19年嗰陣時嚟過英國呢邊參加一個 summer camp，咁都好中意呢邊嘅環境，即係學校都好大啊，唔似香港，同埋啲人都幾好咯，其實。所以都揀咗 Buckswood 咁樣。
即係你以前 summer camp 就 exactly 喺 Buckswood 呢一度。
咁又唔係，我 summer camp 係喺Birmingham 嗰邊咯。
OK， 不過就 overall 覺得即係喺英國讀書同香港環境好唔同咁樣。
係啊。
OK， 咁你真係入到嚟 Buckswood， 你而家喺度讀書幾耐啊？
我讀咗2年，我讀咗 Year 10同埋 Year 11咯。
OK， 咁你覺得整體學校有啲乜嘢即係俾你讀落去，你會覺得即係對學校嘅感覺係點樣？
其實最緊要我就覺得係呢邊啲人真係好好咯。
老師定係同學啊？
同學
Okay.
同學其實都好好，老師其實都 即係同香港好唔同咯。即係呢邊你好似當老師係你自己啲 friend 咁樣。
OK。
即係可能喺香港就會有啲，即係佢啲老師都比較嚴啊，
嚴格啲啦。
係咯。
係咪話即係呢度啲老師冇乜架子啊咁樣嘅？
係啦，其實可以咁講，同埋啲朋友就真係好多，即係你如果喺香港就都係對比翻香港啦，咁就可能同級嘅人玩得多啲咁樣。但係呢邊因為我係 boarding student 咁樣啦，咁我就一個 house 入邊有好多人啦，即係有30零個人啦，咁都唔同 grade 嗰啲人都會接觸下，同埋唔同國家嘅人咯，最緊要係。
就似乎係即係你可以接觸嘅嘢會多啲，視野可以好啲咁樣。咁講翻上堂呢，頭先除咗話老師比較即係 friendly 啲啊咁樣啦，真係喺教嗰陣時呢，你覺得呢度有啲乜嘢你覺得都 appreciate 或者同香港有啲咩主要嘅分別啊？
香港可能會教你點樣去做卷、
考試係啦，
呢邊就係會教你點樣去 apply 佢多啲咁樣咯。同埋佢會可能會 link 到你嘅生活多啲咁樣，同埋佢唔會好似香港咁 stress 啊咁緊咯。
多唔多功課考試先？
對比香港其實真係唔係好多。
OK。咁你放咗學之後翻到去房呢，多唔多時間做功課？
其實我上年就真係比較 chill 啦，同埋上年就可能放咗學喺間房留一陣，可能去 common room 坐下同人傾下偈。之後其實學校俾你嘅 prep time 係一個鐘頭到。我自己就覺得冇話咁夠嘅，其實你都要用下自己啲時間去做多啲功課或者去做多啲 work 咁樣咯。但係今年就真係因為要準備 GCSE 係啦，咁就好多時間都喺自己間房度做嘢咯。
OK。咁整體而言呢，你覺得喺度讀書其實你感唔感覺到自己邊方面有唔同咗啊、進步啊嗰樣啊？
我其實係覺得自己嘅性格又唔同咯。之前就唔乜會同人講嘢，依家就可能見到邊個唔係好識佢，都可能講聲 hello 啊，或者問佢點樣啦今日。所以其實我覺得性格呢邊真係改咗好多咯。係咪
同即係你喺住 boarding 啊，定係即係響班房可以令到你呢個轉變比較影響得大少少啊？你覺得？
我覺得係呢邊 boarding 同埋佢人同人之間，佢已經係咁樣交流，即係例如有兩個人佢已經咁樣講嘢，你見到佢哋咁樣講，其實都幾好覺得。然之後你就會跟住佢哋都即係
個呢度嘅 culture 啦，
呢度嘅環境咁樣影響到咯。
但係你啲同學啊，或者你去 boarding 嗰啲 friend 咧，都係香港人定係其他唔同地方國籍嘅？
其實我嗰間 house 咧就真係冇乜香港人啦，除咗我就得一個咯。之後我其實都係識其他國籍嘅人多啲啦，可能英國本地人都有，咁可能法國啊、巴西啊、西班牙嗰啲人其實都有咯。
好多唔同地方嘅人，過咗嚟2年啦，中間有冇遇到啲都有啲 difficulties 嘅地方啊？因為我上年就因為香港翻去要隔離嘛。咁呢個原因就因為成年都冇翻到香港啦。係咁之後都其實有啲 homesick 啦，同埋可能呢邊有啲特別嘅情況或者突然嘅狀況，咁你都會可能有啲緊張啊，或者擔心點算好咯。頭先因為我去學校睇過好多地方啦，除咗你上堂啦，其實仲有好多嘢玩噶嘛。我 even 見到有騎馬啊嗰啲啦，咁你有啲咩課外活動你有參加到啊喺度？我上年就有參加過 archery 啦，咁就試咗下點樣射箭啊，咁都其實幾好玩啊。之後今年其實就有參加個 cycling club，係喺個 Hastings 嘅
沿住個海一路踩到 Buckswood 咯。
嗯。
其實就差唔多13-15公里度。
哦，OK，
都唔係好遠，但係就星期日朝頭早呢個 activity 其實真係幾好咯，我覺得。
咁你除咗呢個 cycling club 咧，你平時嗰啲 weekend 你會點樣過咧？有冇得翻香港喎咁樣
？Weekends 因為學校就個個星期真係都會有 activities 啦，即係每個星期六晏晝就會可能今日係咩？EBA 第二日又係咩 street party 嗰啲，或者第二日
係咪好 busy 好多活動係嘛？
係啦，好多嘅，即係完全唔會覺得冇。
唔會嗌悶嘅。
係啦
OK， 你最後咧有啲乜嘢 advice 喎？如果可能睇緊條片，可能有家長啊、同學啊，我真係會唔會覺得應該選擇去英國讀書，或者選擇嚟 Buckswood？你有啲咩建議咧？
因為我自己係因為自己想嚟，所以先嚟Buckswood讀書。我覺得其實即係你自己係自願係好緊要咯，即係唔好俾家長
踢唔到嘅係咪？
係啊，冇俾家長逼咁樣，因為你如果自己都唔想嚟，咁其實呢邊都唔會話好開心咁樣。但如果你自己想嚟嘅話，其實我覺得嚟1年2年去試下，或者係好似我咁樣，之前喺個 summer school，因為Buckswood都有 summer school 嘅，
試下先咁樣。
係試下先，睇下中唔中意，係咪真係啱自己，之後先做選擇。我其實都覺得 OK。
好啊，咁overall 聽到你喺度學嘢開心啊，係啦，咁亦都你 feel 到自己嘅進步喺度，咁恭喜你啦，同埋你希望你嚟緊考試可以順利利。
多謝。
好咧，唔該晒你先。
唔該。
有海外升學問題，即刻 WhatsApp 大地啦！